This is for all you sick, spineless little puppets. I don't give a rat's hind end who you are or what little cause you're out here supporting. But if you're out here saying that these families in Texas deserve that flash flood, that they deserve to lose their homes, their children, their lives, you are the disease to our country right now. You are the cancer that we need to cut out. You sit online flapping your daggum gums, talking about empathy, compassion, and humanity. But it only applies when people vote like you, talk like you, and bow to your side of the aisle. You don't give a damn about humanity. All you care about is control. You care about your narratives. You care about pushing your hate disguised as fake morality. Meanwhile, people, everyday Americans, red or blue, does not matter. These people lost everything. Those waters rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. Nobody had time to warn anyone. These babies were swept out of their parents' arms. Homes completely washed off the map. And your response is to laugh at them? To mock them? To say that these people deserve what they got because they lived in a red state? You're not enlightened. You're not righteous. You are sick. You are disgusting. You are vile. But I'll tell you one thing you did accomplish. You pissed off the wrong damn Patriots. Because every time your bitter, hateful little mouth runs, we're only going to get louder and we're only going to get stronger. And just like when Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina and East Tennessee, we didn't stop and ask everybody who they freaking voted for. We just helped. Because that's what real Americans do. We rise up for our people and we fight for our freaking neighbors. We show the hell up in the middle of a devastation because that's the right damn thing to do. So no, I'm not going to back down, and I sure the hell am not going to shut up. I'm not going to soften my message to spare your little feelings. I will be on this app every single freaking day until these people in Texas rise up out of this devastation, just like we did for our people over in the mountains of North Carolina and the valleys of East Tennessee. Because we don't need to check your political stance before we lend you a hand. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us American. So keep talking and keep spewing your vile. But I want you to understand something real quick. You're not silencing us. You're only adding fuel to our fires. And we're just getting started.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great time. Now, we know that disaster management has been used to settle political scores in the United States. And that is why you find that most of the times when a disaster that is quite devastating occurs in the United States, sometimes people from different political parties throw words at each other. You remember last year, 2024, when Hurricane Helene happened in North Carolina, we find that President Trump, who was then a candidate, kind of talked in such a way that rubbished how President Biden and Harris were handling the situation in North Carolina. And in fact, at certain times, they themselves went and gave donations to people because there were accusations of favoritism and where FEMA agents were not helping people who projected themselves as supporters of Donald Trump. So this thing became a hot political issue. Right now, we also have a disaster that is happening, the floods in Texas. Looking at how President Trump has responded to it, we are finding out that there are a number of deaths that are currently happening there. It's quite devastating, and most Americans are not happy. Then we find now that Democrats are now calling out Donald Trump on how he's mishandling this entire situation. He's not responding according to what he should do. And remember, Texas is a red state. They voted for Trump. Some people think, and some people are saying, that you voted for Trump and look at how he's handling you. Look at how he's responding to the entire issue. At some point, Greg Abbott said that their hands are tied. They have done all they could, and still nothing is coming out as effective as they wanted. And even if you look at it deeply, there are certain instances where people and rescuers came from Mexico, and people were asking, how on earth would these Mexicans come and help Americans? Yet they are the ones who are being chased away like rabbits. I came across a clip here of a white lady complaining about how the government is handling the entire situation. It is quite sad, and it is a rant that is justified. Let's watch this and then come back and share our thoughts.
Real quick trigger warning, because I'm triggered, so I'm probably going to pull some triggers. But I'm a sucker for difficult conversations, and today I'm speaking directly to MAGA. I don't care what y'all say in these comments. I see you guys talking about the tragic flooding happening in the state of Texas, and I'm here to remind you, it's not just Texas. It's the tornadoes in Oklahoma and Missouri. It's the rapidly approaching hurricane season for the state of Florida. It's Asheville being left in ruins because Biden gave them FEMA relief that Trump took away. And every time I remind you guys, this is what you voted for, you want to cry. Now's not the time to talk politics. Now is exactly the time to talk politics. Because you thought your political allegiances were going to own the libtards. You just handed us an I told you so movement. Oh, but the children, there's children. The children are suffering. Think of the children because they didn't vote, but you did. You're the same people who voted to defund every child in America's education. You're the same people who voted to rip children out of the arms of their parents and be sent to concentration camps. You're the same people who bullied an 11-year-old girl by threatening to call ICE on her parents until she committed suicide. Clutching to your Second Amendment right so you can overthrow an oppressive regime while installing one, and laughing at the libtards because we begged you to think of our innocent children being shot and murdered in school, at the mall, at parades. You're the same people who sent $675,000 to Shiloh Hendrix's GoFundMe because she called a 5-year-old child, the N-word, the same people who voted to take away food and health care from the poor children in your communities. You voted away the National Weather Association and FEMA that could have prevented the casualties and compensated the loss of property. And you want to say, now's not the time to talk politics. Let's think of the children. I will not think of your children. Because when you thought of mine, you actively wished evil upon them. And I don't wish evil upon children, but I damn sure won't send help to yours when you laughed at mine for being shot at school. Or other children for losing food, or their parents, or you rejoiced at the idea of a child escaping a concentration camp to be eaten by a fucking alligator. A lot of y'all expect me to give a fuck about kids that you don't. No. If you're not thinking of how your vote affects the safety and future of your children, I'm not thinking about it. I'm trying to fix the world you ruined to save my fucking children. I expect to see every able-bodied Trump supporter out there doing search and rescue for every natural disaster that hits, sending all of their Social Security and temporary assistance for needy families to the GoFundMe to pay for funeral and home repair. That is on y'all. It's not on us. I'm not even going to send a thought or a prayer because I will not actively interrupt the wrath of God to stop your karma. He is in real time showing you that he don't fuck with y'all for using his name in vain. This isn't just what you voted for. It is undoubtedly what you deserve. You should be so thankful that you're paying for the disgusting sins of blasphemy in this life and not the fucking next, because that one is eternal. Have the fucking day you voted for.
They cheered for alligator Auschwitz. They cheered for the ICE raids in California. They cheer for breaking up families. They think it's fantastic. But they can say shit like this to get a fucking reaction out of people. And I'm supposed to play nice with this. I'm supposed to play nice with this. See, now I'm mad. Now I'm pissed off. I'm thinking napalm and bridges at this point. Because while you over here want us to disarm, play nice, don't mention this, that, and the third, this will be the new lie. This will be the new lie. What will you do about it? What will you do about it? Will you combat it? Will you fight fire with fire? Or does it only matter when it affects you? This will be the new lie. Make no fucking mistake about it. This will be the new lie. And some of y'all who spent all day yesterday chastising people on this side of the political aisle for saying any motherfucking thing, what will you do when it comes to you? Will you challenge it? Will you combat it? Or will you put your fucking hands in your pockets and walk right past as if you didn't see it? This morning on the show, I said apathy is what is going to inevitably kill us. And I stand by those words. I stand by it 100%. I have been preaching this shit for almost 5 fucking years. But do you know the other thing that will eventually kill America? Racism. And not just those who practice racism, but those who see it and say nothing about it. You are as detrimental to eradicating it as the people who perpetuate it. I'm sorry. If that hurts your feelings, I don't care. I don't. All of it is predicated on this idea of the superiority of Caucasian people. So much so that a lot of Latinos, that amalgamous thing, because there's all different ethnicities within it, try their damnedest to get closer to that at the detriment of the people that look just like them and speak the same language that they do. Asian Americans are always labeled as the model minority. They're not allowed to live. They're not allowed to breathe. They're not allowed to be themselves. They have to continue to adhere to this shit. And then there's people that look like me, who always have to bear the brunt of it and then be told not to fight back. This is going to be the new lie. There's not one fucking person that has said that. Not one fucking person has said anything even remotely like that. But it will be the new lie. The older millennial will start talking about it. I'm pretty sure the rest of them sellout ass Coonesians, the black ones, the trans ones, the gay ones, the women, they're going to come out of the woodwork repeating it over and over and over and over and over again. But what are people on the left going to do about it? You expect us to fight it? The melanated, you expect us to fight it so that you can take the glory. So that you can take the glory. We fought it. No, we didn't fight a motherfucking thing. We didn't fight shit. And you will know when you see it. You think that's going to be the first one? Remember the woman that said that liberal women were coming down south to fight those MAGA women? A lie gets around the world faster, or 2 times as fast, or twice before the truth even gets up, puts its drawers on. This will be the new lie, the new talking point. Got to get back to those old racial stereotypes. Got to put the fear of black folk in white minds. It will justify people going on live streams and calling people niggers. It will justify the fucking watermelon and Newport jokes. And some of you who spent all day yesterday going, I know we're not saying that these people got what they voted for, when there's a tragedy going, you motherfuckers ain't gonna say a goddamn thing. You gonna keep your fucking mouth shut. Can't risk the brand deal. Can't risk the live, right? Let the black folk fight it. And then you get to come in with the white cape saying how you stopped it. When I said ally was a slur, as far as I'm concerned, I explained to you exactly why. And I told you I don't look for allies anymore. I look for accomplices. See, an accomplice would fight that before I have to. I'm noticing more and more post November 5th, 2024, how many more of you are shedding that accomplice tag? I'm noticing. I'm looking dead at you. I do not forget. I don't. Everybody balls is real motherfucking shrinkage when damage happens. When it's time for you to put that fucking reputation on the line. When the doxing might happen. When you might have to risk some shit. But while you're doing that, I want to remind you of something. A neo-Nazi put my fucking picture of my house all over TikTok. And then threatened to put hands on me just because he didn't like my politics. And the people that I saw fighting against that are the ones that I would go to hell for. I would fight for them just like I know they fight for me. But I noticed a lot of y'all didn't. And I ain't the only one. I'm just the loudest voice. When I've seen black women get called all kinds of shit, where's the outrage? From all of you people from yesterday, where the fuck was the outrage? Where was it? When you see video after video after video, I support ICE and this, that, and the third. Do you know who drove that bitch with the fucking oxygen inner nose off this goddamn application? Do you know who did it? It wasn't you. Wasn't you. But I guess you think we were cruel. While she's clapping for ICE and everybody's pulling out fans and breathing hard and cutting hoses, I guess you found that to be fucked up too, huh? Didn't you? This will be the new lie going on. And what I'm going to do, when it starts looping back around, being said by different people on different videos all over TikTok, I'm going to look in those fucking comment sections, and I'm going to see who is out there telling that bitch to go fuck herself. Who's out there telling that motherfucker that's a goddamn lie and shut the fuck up. I'm going to be looking. I'm going to be looking. I know some of y'all ain't got the heart or the stomach to stand up to true injustice, whether it's by word or deed. Looks good on the camera, and it might get you at the DNC. But it's not stopping it, is it? That's the new lie that's coming. I wait to find out who truly is going to deal with it that doesn't look like that.
I'm about to piss a lot of people off, and I really don't care. And I'm sorry, mama, because I am about to cuss, because my mama said I cuss too much. But let me see if y'all follow along with me. It's okay to talk about politics when it's Katrina, right? It's okay to talk about politics when it's undocumented people getting snatched from their families. You don't know what's going on with the women and children. The men getting sent off and getting beaten. You don't know what's going on with them. It's okay to talk about politics when it's alligator Alcatraz. But it's not okay to talk about politics when the victims happen to be majority white. It's not okay to talk about politics when it's North Carolina. It's not okay to talk about politics when it's Uvalde, Texas. It's not okay to talk about politics when it's Kerrville. It has every fucking thing to do with politics. The politicians defunded every single service that would have alerted these people to get out of harm's way. Let me say that again. The current administration defunded every single thing before this big beautiful bill. In February, 800 jobs was cut. So I don't want to hear, oh, it's not the right time to talk about politics, people losing their lives. Yeah, people lost their lives. They lost their lives in Katrina, and guess what? We still had to talk about politics. People losing their lives in these concentration camps, and guess what? We still got to talk about politics. But it's okay to say, oh, it's not the time for politics when it's everybody that ain't brown. Right? It has every fucking thing to do with politics. And guess what? FEMA ain't coming. FEMA ain't gonna save them. God bless these parents that have to deal with their children losing their lives. God bless the families that have lost everything with nowhere to go and a government that ain't gonna help them. Y'all current administration gonna go down there for a fucking photo op. Okay? I know what it's like to lose everything. And my heart goes out to them people. And I hope y'all understand. I hope y'all understand. Y'all chose racism over human rights. Y'all chose racism over basic rights. I'm down here in Louisiana, so I already know it's about to be a time for hurricane season. Them people probably ain't got no flood insurance. That shit don't happen like that where they at. This has every fucking thing to do with politics. Y'all only want to talk about politics when it got something to do with black and brown people that y'all don't fucking like. This is utterly ridiculous. And I couldn't go to sleep till I said it because it hurts my heart that children losing their lives, families losing their lives. Because y'all supporting these fucking politicians that don't even give two shits about y'all. Make it make sense. Because right now it's disgusting. It is fucking disgusting what is happening in Texas. Utterly and it brings back PTSD. It really, really, really does. How you cut everything. You cut the funding for any emergency service that would have alerted these people, oh, you need to get out. Or even the services that would have gotten accurate information on what was going on. And oh, it's not the right time to talk about politics because children lost their lives. And I'm so deeply saddened that children losing their lives. I'm saddened that anybody is losing their life. But y'all need to wake the fuck up. Wake up and get out of that red hat cult shit. Because this is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Imagine what's going to happen to the Gulf Coast and the East Coast if a hurricane smack us this summer. Imagine. This is utterly fucking ridiculous. I pray for these people because they know not what they do.
You mean to tell me they drowned in silence because Texas said no to sirens? Stick around, y'all, because at the end, I'm handing a special award to the most shameless political scapegoater of the week. And the competition is tough. Once upon a time, we were told the purpose of a government was to protect life. Not profit, not pride, life. But in Kerr County, Texas, life drowned. Quietly, quickly, and predictably. Over 120 people, mamas, children, grandmas, and campers, just trying to enjoy the 4th of July, were swept away in floodwaters that every single level of government knew could happen. Knew for a whole damn decade. They had a plan, a floodwater system, only $1 million. That's less than Texas pays on border stun ops and campaign ads in a week. But it didn't happen. Why? Because state officials, mostly Republicans, rejected funding requests 3 separate times. Local officials had $10 million in campaign money, and guess what they spent it on? Walking trails and county employee raises. And the voters, in this red MAGA stronghold, nearly said it was a 100-year catastrophe. And he wouldn't blame Biden, but he did call it a Biden setup, whatever the fuck that means. And Governor Greg Abbott, this man really had the nerve to say that winners don't point fingers. Excuse me, sir? Didn't you point yours at the National Weather Service just days ago? You tried to say that the scientists wasn't doing their job, when the real problem was that Texas chose political theater over public safety. The thing that hurts me the most is that this was preventable. But MAGA pride is a hell of a drug. They rather drown than accept help from a Democratic administration. They rather spin conspiracies than install sirens. And now, babies are gone. This is what happens when ideology trumps humanity. This is what happens when you let hate for the federal government blind you to common sense. You can't eat bootstraps when your house is underwater. You can't pray away a 20-foot river surge. And you sure as hell can't blame the clouds for what you failed to prepare for. So let's be clear on what happened here. Trump's FEMA and Homeland Security botched the rescue. Trump's NOAA cuts weakened NWS. Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick choose blame over responsibility. Kerr County rejected sirens. And the voters, yes, some of y'all too, said no thanks to Biden's money. And now, 120 dead. And 160 still missing. Stop voting for leaders who treat federal help like a virus, while letting your family drown in the name of freedom. Because freedom without protection is just abandonment with a flag. Now, drum roll, please. The Shameless Scapegoat Award goes to Governor Greg Abbott for pretending that solutions matter more than accountability after you refuse to fund the damn solution in the first place. May this tragedy never be forgotten. And may y'all remember it when you step into that voting booth. Because warning systems save lives, but political pride, that buries them. Tag someone who still thinks MAGA is about saving lives. Because if this is salvation, I hate to see the flood.
MAGA, you do realize that the Republican Party, including Donald Trump, are using you. You see, as a Democrat, we've been used as well. For the past 60 years, the Democratic Party has used black people to push their liberal agenda. Now, that is me saying that I agree with you in principle, but I disagree with you when you vote against your own interests, and you see the results of your actions that you took this past November at the ballot box. You see that what is happening in Texas, it's not an anomaly. That is something that happened because of the failures of politicians that put money first. You see, children are dead. It doesn't matter the color of the children. Children are dead. And they are dead because of racism, hatred, and bigotry. They are dead because white folks voted against their own interests. They voted to gut programs that helps them out. Go figure. You see, both political parties, both, and this is coming from a Democrat, both of them has taken advantage of the poor and the indigent people. They are going to cause you to fight your brothers and sisters in the streets of this country, shed blood. The elites are. They are setting everything in motion, upsetting you, putting you in a place that you're going to have to make a decision here shortly to kill your brothers and your sisters, all while fighting against your best interests. You guys have a nice day.
Did y'all hear about that black woman who evacuated and literally saved her and her entire family from being caught up in that Texas flood? Despite there being no alerts, being no warnings, she noticed that that fucking river was rising and she said, we gonna get the fuck up out of here. Her name is Lucretia Bates, right? Her and her family, they were camping literally just 1 mile from the devastation that took place in Guadalupe River. And she noticed that the river was actually starting to rise. And she said, yo, bae, look at this. He said, all right, they got the kids together. She saw that people were still trying to go tubing and do all of these water activities despite seeing that it was rising. And she honestly couldn't believe it, but she said, me and my family, we about to get the fuck on, right? So they go to the place, because I guess, you know, it's like a check-in spot, whatever. And they tell, you know, front desk, listen, we're checking out. They were supposed to stay an extra night. And she tells them, listen, we're checking out. Her husband tells them, we're checking out. And they're like, really? Why? Kinda. And she's like, yeah, no, we're just gonna head out. And then they have the nerve to lean into her husband and tell him, listen, we're actually thinking of evacuating. We're thinking of evacuating. Sis said thinking. You're thinking? Fuck is you thinking for? You need to get these people out of here. Sis ain't waste no time. She said, y'all could think all y'all want to. I'm going to get the fuck on. Me and mines, we're going to be good. And that's in fact what happened. It was because of that fast thinking, her actually listening to her intuition, her and her family is safe. Listen, we are talking about a woman, so that's woman's intuition, a black woman, so that's black women intuition, and a mother. That's three different type of intuitions right there. She was not staying. With a name like Lucretia, she definitely used her black card. Who the fuck is fighting with nature? Who is fighting with nature? I gotta go. I gotta fucking go. And definitely still a deep and genuine condolences to all of the lives lost, all of the families who are impacted by this flood. Honestly, like, I really do wish the best for you all. But Lucretia made sure she Still, I want to issue my deepest and sincerest condolences to all of the lives lost, all of the families that are impacted by the floods. Honest to God, it truly is a devastating time for the people in Texas, and I really do hope that they pull through.
Welcome back to the channel. Now, looking at what is being said there, I kind of say that America is a highly political country, and everything that happens, people must have an opinion about it. And especially when it comes to things like disaster, there are things that need urgent response, concerted effort towards helping those who are still there. First responders need to be helped in the best way possible. And help should be welcomed from all quarters. So whether Mexicans came to help, that shouldn't be the case. We should all see that everybody is moved to a safer place. The floods are devastating and the number of deaths are quite heartbreaking. I can't even say them because the number is huge. So many Americans are enraged at Donald Trump's handling of the July 2025 Texas floods due to perceived inadequacies in the federal response, particularly given the catastrophic scale of the disaster. The flash floods in Texas Hill County, which killed at least 121 people and left over 160 missing, exposed vulnerabilities in disaster preparedness and response, which critics attribute to Trump's policies. His administration's significant cuts to the National Weather Service and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, including the loss of the 600 NWS staff and key roles like hydrologists and warning coordination meteorologists, are seen as having weakened forecasting and alert systems. These cuts, part of a broader push to reduce federal bureaucracy, have been linked to delayed or inadequate flood warnings, which some Texas officials noting that forecast underestimated the rainfall severity, leaving communities unprepared for the deluge that turned the Guadalupe River into a deadly force. So Trump decided to come and make certain cuts that he believed were going to make federal government streamlined towards achieving his dreams. But then he went to specific places where he shouldn't have touched. For example, FEMA. Looking at how many years of disaster management in America have been catastrophic, I don't think that's a place where you would want to cut jobs. It's a place where you'd want to reinforce workforce by employing many people, by using modern technologies, by employing many experts. But then for him, he went everywhere and saw that these were the low-hanging fruits that he would come and cut immediately without any question. So look at what has befallen him. Texas is raging, and Americans are raging for that matter. He should have thought better. The administration's dismissive and defensive posture has further fueled public anger. When questioned about the lack of timely flood warnings, Trump lashed out, calling a reporter evil for raising concerns from grieving families and insisting that everyone did an incredible job, despite the high death toll, including dozens of children at Camp Mystic. This response, coupled with his refusal to address whether NWS staffing cuts contributed to the tragedy, has been seen as the callous and evasive, particularly given his history of politicizing disasters in Democratic-led states like California and North Carolina. Posts on X reflect the sentiment, with users labeling Trump as a loser for praising the response amid such loss and decrying the gross incompetence of the flood response. The contrast between Trump's praise for Texas officials and his past criticism of Democratic governors has led to the accusations of partisan favoritism, furthering inflaming public frustrations. Concerns about FEMA's role and future under Trump's leadership have also intensified public outrage. Despite Trump's earlier pledges to dismantle FEMA and shift disaster response to states, the emergency's response in Texas was slowed by bureaucratic red tape and cost control measures imposed by Homeland Security, including delays in deploying search and rescue teams. While Trump signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County, unlocking federal aid, the limited deployment of FEMA personnel, only 70 search and rescue workers compared to over 1,750 state personnel, has drawn criticism for being insufficient given the disaster scale. Experts and former FEMA officials argue that agency's diminished capacity, exacerbated by Trump's proposed cuts and a rebranding to emphasize state roles, left Texas ill-equipped to handle a crisis this magnitude, particularly as climate change drives more frequent extreme weather events. So it is all out of Trump's actions. He decided to cut the number of workers within this department, and he also decided to send a few people to go and do the search and rescue, and that resulted in the deaths that we are seeing currently. Trump seems to be working against himself, because when he said certain things before, when he's in power, he tends to react differently. Finally, the emotional weight of the tragedy, particularly the loss of children at Camp Mystic, has amplified public discontent. The camp, which lacked American Camp Association accreditation but passed a state inspection, was not evacuated despite NWS flood warnings issued hours before the disaster. Trump's visit to the Kerrville in July 11, 2025, while intended to show solidarity, was overshadowed by his refusal to engage with the questions about systemic failures, instead focusing on praising state officials and deflecting blame to the Biden administration or the historic nature of the floods as a 100-year catastrophe. Critics, including Democrats like Senator Chuck Schumer and local officials, have called for investigations into whether federal and state failure contributed to the death toll, which many Americans view Trump's handling as emblematic of broader incompetence and a lack of accountability. This has led to a growing perception, echoed in posts on X, that Trump's policies and rhetoric prioritize political optics over effective governance, leaving communities vulnerable and grieving families without answers. Trump has his goose cooked. He's handling disaster in a more worse way compared to how his predecessors have always handled their situations. Trump was very political over these disasters, but then right now, when it is his time to show leadership, when it is his time to have a better way through which he could manage these issues, he's failing, and that only leaves him to blame. Share your thoughts down in the comment section, and if you're watching us for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.